Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers. This is Annie 150, and this is Module 6. We are creating the upper body clothing and accessories. That means that the accessory will be the hair, or it can be a hat, it can be a watch, or all the above. So the idea is that eventually you're going to have, I would highly recommend that you don't just leave her bald unless you have a tattoo on her head or something like that, or you got very short hair, or, it's your choice, but you have the choice of hair, the shirt. I'm obviously thinking that you're going to create some kind of a shirt or a suit of some kind, or a coat or a jacket or a skirt, or whatever your character mood board is that you created. You're going to be creating that clothing, so you'll have that clothing completely done. And what I want you guys to do is create your eyes, obviously. So what you'll do is you'll select everything. Okay. Now, if it's a suit, now some of you may have questions like, okay, what if it's a one-piece suit, right? You did a superhero and she's wearing a jumpsuit. That's fine. Go ahead and extrude the clothing, or create the clothing however you decide that you want to do it. You want to create it, and you'll just make sure you just focus on the top part. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about the two assets you have to have. Well, you have to have clothing, some kind of clothing on the body, okay? And you'll need to have, and then the second asset's up to you. So if you don't do hair, you have to have something on her head. You can leave her bald if that's what you want, but you'll have to have another asset, so you'll have to create. So you have to create two assets at the minimum for this turn-in, okay? Whether it be hair, or a hat that you create, or a headdress, or something. So I've got that all explained in the module. So this is where we're at. We're now in the turn-in instructions. So the turn-in instructions are pretty clear, and that's why I create this video. And this video is going to be found under the Module 6 course assignment turn-in instructions video tutorial. And I'll also have a zip folder called Module 6 Turn-in Lighting Rig that you can unzip. And when you unzip it, you'll have to take these two pieces in here, copy those, okay, and you'll open up your documents folder and put it in the project folder that you're working in. And mine is Annie 235 character module 6. Double click on that and then go into my scenes folder and just pop these in there. Go ahead and paste those in there. And then when you open up your scene, okay, you'll have to set that file. So you're going to have to go to project set, and I'm going to go into my documents folder and go into Maya. And I'm going to go into my projects. There it is. And then I'm going to go into my projects folder here. Just highlight it and click set. And then what I'm going to do is, with all this, I'm going to make sure you guys select all the pieces and combine them. So this, what I did was I marquee selected everything and combined it by clicking on this. And then I did the center pivot, delete by type history, and freeze transformations. Now before you combine it all, you probably need to put and duplicate it and put it in its own layer. Before you combine it all, you're going to want to select everything and put it in, like duplicate it, like Control D, and put it in its own layer, so you're not stuck with this combine. Now you're never stuck with a combine, right? You can always go in here and separate, so you can select it, go to mesh and separate. It'll separate everything back up again. Alright, so this is where we're at. I kind of got my camera all set up. It's just a perspective camera. It's kind of in a perspective view. Okay, so kind of match my perspective. And once I combined it, I went ahead and went to assign new material. I went into a Arnold shader and clicked on AI standard surface. and I turned the weight up, okay, and I selected the color, and I went 3 above it, 1 which is black, the second one is dark gray, and then the third one is this one right here, okay. And in here I turn the roughness to 0.5, and I turn the IOR to 1 and hit enter. Okay, that's good. That's what it looks like. And then I'm going to go to File, Import. Okay, and I'm going to, if you see that it goes to Data, that's not where I want to be. I want to click on Scenes. Okay, Import. And instead of OBJ, I'm going to look for Maya binary, and there it is. Okay, there's my lighting rig. So I'm going to select the lighting rig, module 6, turn in light. If you don't see it, then you didn't put the lighting rig in the right folder. It needs to be in the scenes folder. And you can find it over here too as well. So if you don't see it, then you're not in this area here. So scenes, and there it is. It popped up. So I'm going to click on it, import it in, go ahead and continue, and there it is. Everything's set up for you how I want it lit. Okay, so I even set up a bookmark, but we're gonna do some screenshots first before we do any renders. Okay, so we're gonna set up our screenshots. I want to see the whole figure from probably right where the waist is, so I can see. Even if this is a full piece, one-piece suit that you created out of one piece, I still want to see it, just the top part, okay? Just for now. So you have to have 2 assets, and I did the hair and the shirt. That's what I did. You'll do whatever your mood board, your character mood board is. You'll follow that, but you need 2. The eyes don't count. The eyes are just part of the character modeling part. And we're going to go ahead and do a smooth shade. So I'm going to click this off. You probably want to put this lighting scenario in its own layer for now. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that new layer and just call that lighting. You guys know how to do all this stuff. Let's go ahead and close that out. So we don't need lighting for screenshots, right? So we're going to go up to the top workspace, next to workspace up here, click on export. And we can also get rid of this guy right here. So I'm going to go to show, and I'm going to turn off cameras. Okay, and so nothing's in my scene except for my character. So now I'm going to kind of zoom in and just kind of get that set up just nicely like this. And I know it's hard to see her with my background, so what I can do here is I can go to Windows, I can go to Settings, Preferences, and Color Settings. And in here I can turn the background to be black if I wanted to. Now I can see her just fine. Okay. And if you notice that the shadows kind of blend in with the background, you can also make it white if you wanted to. I think that white is always kind of stark. We just need a little bit of a difference here, and this will be just fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a screenshot. So use your snipping tool, hit the S key, and just go into regular rectangular snip, and just snip out this portion of the character. Okay. We're going to save this to the desktop, of course. We always like to do that. And we're just going to put your first name and your last name, and you're going to put in something like screenshot underscore perspective, PERSP, and we'll just do front, right? Something like that. And let's close that. That's saved, and now we're going to click on wireframe. Okay, we'll do another screenshot. Okay, same thing. And we're going to go into the desktop. Alright. And we're going to put wireframe on the back of that. Okay, so we got the front, and we got the wireframe and the smooth shade, so we can close those. And now what we're going to do is we're going to flip her to the back. So I'm going to go back out of Expert into Classic. I'm going to double click on this, the rotate settings, double click on it, and I'm going to go into Step Snap to Relative so we can snap it around. Okay, so I'm just going to move her like that, and that makes it perfect, like perfectly snaps around. And I'm going to back to Expert mode like that and click off, and now I've got the wireframe over here, so I'm going to move her just a little bit over to the side, just kind of center her out, and I'm going to do another screenshot, hit the S key, and do another rectangular snip like this, and save as. This is a wireframe, and all I'll have to do is click on it and go to and just type in back, so that makes it easier for me. Not a whole lot of typing. Close that off, and then I'm going to turn off wireframe and do another snip, and so we'll have 4 of these screenshots. Okay. All right. Hope you had fun creating the hair. I know I did. I really like that Vroid, or whatever it's called. It's pretty cool. Save as. So I thought that was pretty neat, and it's easy to do. Okay, so screenshot, perspective front. This will just be the back. Back. There we go. Okay, great. And then we'll spin the character back around again. And the reason why I don't have to guess, I can just pop it right back where we had it. Now we need to get out of expert more mode when we get into rendering. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And so what I want to do now is I'm going to go in and I got to set my settings up. So we're all set up. Okay. Now we need to turn the lighting back on. So we're going to turn the lighting back on. So make sure that you can take that and turn it back on. And go ahead and get this the character all set up. And I showed you how to do bookmarks before, but if I didn't, you want to set your camera up. But let's go ahead and get the render settings set up first before we set our camera up. Render settings, right? So if you're going to do a basic, just gotta get us the starting your lights. We don't want to have this turned up much more than that. And you always want to have it at HD 540. So if I do that, just to do one test render, right? Then let's go ahead and just have it set at these settings here for Arnold Renderer, and then the Commons tab will be HD 540, just to check out the lighting to make sure it's working. And we want to have our mask on. Okay, so you got this guy right here and this guy right here. Okay. Right, so you got your resolution gate and your gate mask. And then now you can set up your camera and just get it rotated the way you want it. Okay, that looks about right. Again, we're going to go right from, we want to have a little headroom here, right? Right where the waist is. Okay, that's good. I think that'll work. And then I'm going to move it over because we got too much, we're too close over here. There we go. Trying to compose it just right. And what we'll do is we'll do a quick render. Click up here. You can see I already did one. I'll pause it. Okay, that's what we came up with. A render. That's good. That's fine. So I'm going to minimize that. Now, if yours is different and you feel like it's too dark or it's too bright, then you can make changes, okay? You can make changes to the rig. So let me show you how to do that. So let's say this is really too bright. You're getting too bright. Okay, so it's too bright. Then what you do is you zoom out a little bit. But what I would do before you do that, go ahead and set your camera up. So go to View, and we're going to go to Bookmarks. Click on Edit Bookmarks. Click on New Bookmark. Okay, highlight this and rename it whatever you want, and then click Apply. Okay, and then close. And then if you zoom out and go, oh, I messed my camera up, then you can go to View again, go to Bookmarks, and you'll see it right here. There you go. That's easy. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit, and the first thing you want to check is not the background, but the first light, the directional light here. And do a Control A until you see that. I got this set up at 1.3. That's pretty intense, right? So you can turn that down, and then what you do is do another render. Okay, go back to your camera view and do another render. If it's too bright, then bring that down. You want to bring the intensity down, and you want to bring the exposure down at the same, the same rate. So if I do a 1 on here, then I want this to be 1, the exposure. Okay, you don't need to mess around with anything else. Just those two. Okay, so if it's too bright, then bring those down. So you can try to, instead of 1.3, you can do 1, and then do exposure at 1. If that's too bright, you can go down to 0.8, and then exposure at 0.8. That's how you change it. Okay. The backlight, I don't think you're gonna have any issue with the backlight. It's the front light. If it's too bright, then you can turn that down. Okay, that's how you can turn the intensity down. Alright, so that's just how easy it is. And then let's bring this back up in here now. That's easy enough to do. Let's go back into my bookmarks, and there we are. So we're ready for our first full render. Let's say it turned out great. Now we're ready to do a full render, and this will be set at 5, something like 5. And then the Commons tab, this will be set at 1080. Now, the render should still be good at 3. Let's check it out. This is the quality. So if it gets really grainy, then you need to set that a higher rate. So if it looks grainy, set it at a higher rate. That's what you do. And just set it incrementally up, right, to 4, and it's still grainy, then we need to do 5, and it's still kind of a little bit grainy, then we need to do 6. Now, the reason why I say let's try 3 is because it'll render faster, okay? But we do need it HD 1080. So let's go ahead and do the first render. All right, I'll go ahead and set it up, first render, and we'll... Okay, this is our first render. That's pretty good. So what you do is you go to File, Save As, Save Image, and go into the option box. And you just make sure that this is set to Color Managed Image, and apply and close, and then you're set for the rest of this. Go ahead and save image, and now you can call this your first name, last name, perspective 01. This is not the wireframe, and go ahead and set this save, right? Alright, so that's good. That's your first one. Let's go ahead and I'm going to pipe that in there real quick. And what I said by piping it in and just saving the image, when I click on this guy right here, it saves the image so I can go back and forth. I can see what I've done. So saving the image, it saves it to RAM, and it will call back up again if you go back and forth. You can call it back up by just moving this slider back and forth down at the bottom. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. And I added an AI standard surface. I didn't rename it, which I should have. So I'm just going to call this whatever her name is. I'm going to call her Jessie today. And Jessie has a texture TX. There we go. So Jessie texture. That's great. Alright, so then what we're going to do is we're going to do a wireframe on this. So I'm going to right click over this, just like we have been doing for the last 5 modules. This is module 6. We're going to go to Assign New Material, and we're going to go to Arnold Shader, and we just go to AI Wireframe. Okay. So this we'll go from triangles to polygons. Okay. That's the essential thing. You need to have a low poly. Now this, you can see that my shirt is a little bit. It's not low poly. It's like, I think I smoothed it at 1. Okay. I think I smoothed it at 1. The hair I didn't smooth. That's exactly what it's very low poly. And that's from the Vroid tutorial. I did the exactly same thing. I watched it. The first time I watched, I found it and I thought, oh, this is going to be so cool. So it's so easy. bring it in, and then I brought it in and scaled it down, and then used the sculpt deformers and just kind of got it looking the way I wanted and scaling it the way I wanted, and it worked out great. So it turned out really nice. Very happy with it. Anyway, so let's go ahead and render this out real quick. And there's my wireframe. Pretty easy, pretty simple. No problems there. Go ahead and file, save image. Same old thing. This one I'll just put perspective wireframe. There we go. Alright, so save that. You can save it to your desktop. I know where I'm saving it, so I'm good. And then we'll go ahead and add that. So I added it to it. Just going to minimize that. And then I'm going to rotate this thing. Okay, and then we're going to do another render, just like that. The back. Once that's done, it doesn't take too long. Okay, it's all done. Even though it's spinning around still, go to File, and that does that sometimes. And T-pose, J-bars, back perspective, back wireframe. So I'm just gonna type in back on there. Here we go, and save. Should save it. And I'm gonna pop it in here, but I'm gonna close it. It's still spinning. I don't know what's happening, but anyway. So now we're gonna click on it, and we're gonna go into assign existing material. Okay. And Jesse TX. There we go. So I'm gonna add that material back on there and do another render. It's still rendering. It's still, I don't know why that thing's spinning around. It's so weird. And so now we get to see the back. Okay, great. All the renders are done. Now it stops spinning. File, save image. And now I'm going to go in here. So we've got back, wireframe, perspective. And then let's go ahead and do 2 on here. Number 2. There we go. Alright, good. And you can see I'm changing my convention, my naming convention, so it doesn't really matter on the renders as long as you have 4 of them. And we're good there. So you're done with that. Let's go ahead and rotate that around back where we had it. We do need to have the file conventions, so let's go ahead and do the export selection file conventions for all this. We're going to do my binary first, so let's go ahead and export selection, and you're going to put your first name, last name, Annie 235 MOD number 6. There we go. That's what I need, and that's important there. The screenshots, as long as you have your name on them, and you can name them whatever you want. And then your renders, you can name them whatever you want, as long as your first and last name's on there. And then with the actual scenes, though, I need to have them specifically this: your first name, last name, all underscores, Annie underscore 235 underscore MOD underscore 06, and then export selection. Okay. And then we'll do that again. Export selection. Okay. I'm going to do my binary really quick again because I forgot to highlight this and copy it. So I'm going to do that real quick. Control C. I always forget that. I'm going to just click cancel. And then I'm going to go to File, Export Selection, and now I'm going to pick OBJ or whatever's first. I think it's OBJ. Yeah, OBJ's first. Export Selection. Now I can just go in here and just go Control V and save that, export that out. Yeah, I suppose. Yep, export that. Yep. And then let's go in here, File, and let's do Export Selection again. Option box. Let's do the FBX, which is underneath. Export that. Make sure Smoothing Groups is on, Smooth Mesh is on, and then the latest version of FBX is on. and then do a Control V because I don't want to rename that, type that all up again. It already exists, sure, right? And if you get this thing, this warning box that says, oh, it's not saving, or warning, you don't have the right texture on there or the material, don't just ignore it. It should have saved anyway. So we're done with this. All right, we're done with that. We got our renders right here. So I'm going to open up my module 6 folder, and it's got to be named your first name underscore last name underscore any underscore 235 underscore mod underscore 06. And then here you're going to create 3 folders: renders, scenes, and screenshots. You guys have done this so many times, so you should know. And your renders go in. Anyway, okay, so there it is. Gosh, took forever. So there they are. Here are my screenshots. Perfect. I can tell that they're screenshots. I can tell. And you're probably wondering how I can tell. Well, I can zoom in, and it's got these called anti-aliasing. You don't see that with a render. Okay, that's how I can tell. Some of you guys are wondering how I can tell the difference, but I can. Just got that eye. Alright, so there it is. So when you don't give me renders, you get points taken off. You probably figured that one out too. Go ahead and move those into screenshots. And then I've got I saved my renders to my renders folder, where my project is. And so I know where those are, though. There we go. So we've got those in here. And I put my renders, copy and paste those. We always want to keep a copy of them, paste. Here we go. So we got my renders in here. My scenes are in my scenes folder. So go in scenes. Here they go. Got those. Alright, so double check everything. Here's your folder, module 6. Here's your renders. Double click on those. You can see those look good. Front, back, and then the wireframes. Those look great. Double check your screenshots. Okay, those look good. Yep, got all those in there for those. And then you've got your scenes. You should have 1, 2, 3, 4 in there for your files, and that's it. So then you will go in here, right click over it, and go to send to zip compressed. It'll create a compressed folder for you, and there it is. Again, you right click over it, go to send to compressed zip folder, and then you'll upload this into your module 6 in Canvas in the assignment, and upload that, and then you're good to go. You know the rest. I look forward to seeing you guys in module 7. All module 7 is, if you want to get started beforehand, module 7 is basically you're modeling the lower part. Same thing. Okay, modeling lower part and getting all the assets that you need. You have to model all the assets yourself, the clothing, all the accessories that you want with the character. Alright, that's it. I look forward to seeing what you guys come up with. It's going to be fun. And we start texturing, then module 8, I believe. And then we go into rigging. Alright, so I'll see you next week.